Hey there, lore masters and gamers. This is going to be a relatively quick tutorial on how to make custom D&D character sheets. I recently posted in a couple of groups, both my group, DMs of the Forgotten Realms, and another group, the Tavern at the End of the Internet, a bunch of my custom character sheets, and they were really well received. And there was somebody in one of the two groups, I don't remember which, that requested that I make a tutorial. And I was reluctant at first because for me to make my character sheets and to get them exactly the way I want them usually takes me 2 to 3 hours. But I did a trial tutorial video, and I think I can get this down to hopefully 45 minutes or less. That's why I say a relatively short tutorial video. Let me see. With that said, let me get a couple of the disclaimers out of the way. For starters, to make these character sheets, well, let me back up, not even go that far. If you Google custom D&D character sheet, you will find a plethora of custom designed character sheets, some with pictures, some without. Most of them, in my experience, are hand drawn, but I like to use pictures from the internet, and just because there's such a wide pool of creativity to pull from that way, and you can get a much closer image to what it is you're looking for your character sheet. And I say that these are D&D character sheets, but they don't specifically have to be used for D&D. You can use them for any type of character sheet that you happen to have. You're going to need both Photoshop, which is what I currently have up, and I also use this Adobe Acrobat 7 Professional to make it a fillable PDF file. For those of you who have had like professional or official Photoshop classes or whatever, know that everything that I do in Photoshop I've done self-taught through trial and error. So you'll probably hear me use incorrect terms for these things right here, or for other things in general, and that's mostly because it's just my name for it. Also, to your trained eye, I may do things that to you will seem silly, or perhaps you'll know shortcuts to make things easier that I don't know, because again, like I said, self-taught, trial and error, just kind of muddling through this on my own. So if you have tips, tricks, comments, concerns, anything like that, please put it in the comments, share the knowledge, and hopefully once I learn that, I'll make a new tutorial video that'll speed things up. Let me see, anything else? Nope, I guess that's it. We'll just get into it. Alright, so one of the first things you're going to need to create a character sheet, at least in the style that I use, is you're going to need a character. Oops, not character sheets, base images, new folders, Callie. Now this character right here she started off as an NPC that I made improvise spur of the moment when my players made a sudden left turn on me and I had to figure some stuff out. This is Princess Callistra Rowena Yentir, and or Princess Callie for short. She is a mix of, if you've ever played Fire Emblem Awakening, she's a mix of both Lucina and Maribel. Maribel is closer to her personality, so she's a lot of fun. She was well received by both myself and the players, so now I'm making her into a full character sheet. And since somebody was requesting a tutorial video anyway, I decided I'll make her character sheet and I'll record myself doing it. But again, I'm not going to go into detail with everything. Alright, so right here we've got my character. Now the next thing after you have your characters, you're going to need a background. Oh, and that's the other thing. I've got a 3 monitor setup, but OBS, the program I'm using to record this, only, as far as I know, records one screen, which is my main screen. So you're going to see me pull stuff from off to the sides. That's where that's coming from. Anytime I'm working on something, I'll try and remember to put it on the main screen so you guys can see it. Anyways, like I said, you're going to need a background. I'm going to use this one here. I just Googled medieval throne room background. You can Google whatever you need that you feel is appropriate for your character. All you got to do here, right click, copy image. And the good thing about Photoshop is when you go back in here, you click File, New, it's already going to have the dimensions set to whatever you have saved on your clipboard. So when I click OK here, that is the right size for this image. Which, by the way, pop that up. I did Control V for paste. If you don't know these quick little shortcuts, I'm going to say them for the most part as I'm doing them. But just to get it out of the way, Control V is going to be paste, Control C is copy, Control X is cut, and Control Z is undo. Alright, so those are the things I'm going to use a lot. Also, if you have a mouse that has a wheel in the middle, you can hold Alt and use your mouse to zoom in and out. You'll see me do that a lot. And if you hold Control and roll the mouse, you'll move left and right. So you'll see me do that a lot. I don't really use these sliders a whole lot, at least when I can avoid it. Alright, now before you really want to get into this, the next thing you're going to want to open up is the character sheet you intend to use. Now, most of the time I use the generic, I just want page 1 here. Okay, I use the generic D&D 5e character sheet to pull my boxes from. Alright, easiest way, make it quick and simple, you just go over here to your magic wand tool, click this kind of gray area that's behind each of these boxes. It'll select all of that and delete it. You don't need that stuff. Alright, then you go over here. This is actually called the rectangle marquee tool. I just call it the select box tool. Alright, select your box, Control X to cut, go back to whatever your image is, Control V, paste, and it's going to bring it back on there. Alright, then all you have to do is Control T. This is for transform. I believe it's actually free transform. Yeah, free transform. And that's going to allow you to resize the things as you need. Alright, press enter. Thing you'll need to know with the free transform is while you're doing that, you're not going to be able to select anything else. So make sure press enter on that, then you can select other stuff. But I'm not going to really worry about that because I don't plan on using this particular character sheet. Not for this character. I found another character sheet. I just titled it the updated 5e character sheet. Again, just need the first page, don't need all three. And I like this one better because, I don't know, just something about the design of the boxes just really seems to fit her character better in my opinion. Also, another thing is using OBS seems to take up a lot of my computer's processing power, so you're going to see things like take longer to load or whatever it is it's doing. When you're going through it, it shouldn't do that, so don't really worry about that. Alright, so same deal here. I like these boxes better, so these are the ones I'm going to use. I would go here, select the gray area, get rid of that. Normally I would get rid of this back area too, but that just takes a while, and I don't think I need it, so I'm going to try and avoid it if I can. Alright, so, but this is the reason I tell you to pull up this character sheet. It's not actually for the boxes yet. At this stage, what you want to look at is the canvas size. The reason being is when you turn this into a PDF, you're going to want your main image to be about the same size as your character sheet. If you can get it exactly the same size, then that's even better. Oops, not you, I don't need you. You can go away. But close enough is acceptable. Now the reason I say close enough, even though you see me copying and pasting the exact width and height, is because in my trial video when I did that, it got it pretty close to the character sheet size, but it still wasn't exact, but it was still acceptable. Anyways, once you get it here, you're going to make sure you're on layer 1, and again you're going to do Control T for that free transform. Just go ahead and stretch it out to fill in the blanks. Photoshop is good about snapping to the right lengths, and you'll also notice, obviously, when you do free transform, that your image, like this, when it's stretched out, it comes out nice and blurry. Don't worry about that, because when you press enter, it'll auto correct itself. Alright, so now I have this roughly to the same sheet size that I want. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to do Control A for selecting all, and Control X to cut. I'm going to take Cali over here, Control V. Alright, then I like to go back and do an undo, which is for Photoshop, Control Alt and Z. Reason being, if let's say I was messing around with this and I messed up this Cali, like maybe, I don't know, I erased something and I couldn't undo it because I made too many actions afterwards. I like to have this right here again so that I can go back here and get a fresh image of Cali if I needed her. And I do that for a lot of things. Anyway, same deal. Control T and stretch out your character. Obviously this image doesn't have her feet, so I'm going to go down to the bottom of the screen so it looks a bit more natural. Looks like she's right up front and center. Alright. Now another thing I normally do, I didn't worry about it this time because it appeared to have already been set for me, but usually this little background area, it's just plain white, and I like to take it and use a light gray color, and then I'll just click on there, make sure it's on the background layer, and it'll fill that out. Reason being here, I'll show you why. Let me go ahead and delete this layer entirely. Alright. The reason I do this is because with some backgrounds, you'll want to go to that layer and drop this right here. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm not 100% sure. Opacity. I think that's, I know it's opaque. And in 1/10. But anyways, this, I usually drop this down to like 65 to like 75, something like that. And you can see when you do it like that, you get the transparency background. Alright, but if you go to layer, I'm going to bring it back. I could just undo it, but I'm going to show you how to add a layer. So layer, new, add one right there. Color, you can preset it to like gray or something there, or you can just leave it as none and then fill it in with whatever color you want. I'm going to go ahead and put it as gray. Put that there, and I want to make sure this layer is at the bottom. Alright. Oh, I didn't fill it. Well, it doesn't matter. Alright, so then you take that light gray color and you fill that in. And this is why. So now that transparency color, or that transparent checker box, whatever, now that's gone. You don't have to worry about seeing that. And the reason I dropped the opacity down is because sometimes when you make the background lighter, but your main character is still dark, it draws the eye towards the character, which is generally what you want to do. In this particular case, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it at 100%, just because I really like how the colors blend together here. But that's neither here nor there. Alright, so now you have your character, you have your background, your canvas is at a decent size with your character sheet. Boom. Next thing you do, or at least next thing I do, is I choose the font color that I think is going to show up best here. In this case, I'm going to go with yellow. And in fact, let's not even do that next. No. Next is you're going to want to choose a font. Now, for most of this sheet, I'm going to use Prince Valiant, which is a font I already had pre-installed, but I'm also going to use one other. So if you go to Google and you can search just about anything you want and just add the word font on the end, and they'll probably have something for it, at least in my experience. Like I've done Assassin font, and they just have a whole bunch of stuff. I used the Creed from I used the font from Assassin's Creed, excuse me. That one I already have installed. That's a favorite of mine. But let's see, let's do like Druid font. You see in here they've got all sorts of stuff. I don't know. Let's Barbarian font. Look at this. So you can find any type of font. Just basically whatever theme you have, put the word font on the end, and you'll probably find something you like. All right. But that said, I really like this this page 1001 fonts, because usually whatever you find, it'll give you page upon page of different types of fonts. I chose Regal font. I could have done Royal font, whatever. She's a princess. But I'm going to use this one right here, this Precious Regular. Alright, you just click download, or for whatever page, however they have it set up for you to install that. Usually it's going to open in a zip file like this. You'll open that up. WinRAR is going to give you your little warning asking you to pay for their stuff that nobody does. And there's the file you need right there. Alright, then what I do is I go to my computer or whatever. I just type in font, brings up my font folder right here, and then all I've got to do is click this and drag it over there, and you can't see it right now because that window was covering it, but basically that was it installing. Then I can go down to here, Precious Regular. There it is. Now that font is in my font folder. Alright, now if you come back right into Photoshop and you check the drop down list, you're not going to see, oh hey, there it is. That might be there because I had it installed earlier and then I deleted it, and then I just reinstalled it just now to show you how to do it. So apparently I already have it in here. But normally what you would have to do is go to File, Save As. In my folders, just the way I keep my folders organized, I've got, these ones are completed folder character sheets. These ones are edits. I keep my edits in here so that I can always come back and alter layers if I want. And I've got incomplete. You're going to want to save it as Photoshop PSD. Alright, in fact I've already got one right here. So then you would save. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and save over it. Save it as as just Photoshop, because that keeps the layers individual when you open that back up. If you save it as anything else, Photoshop PDF, JPEG, PNG, whatever, it's going to merge all this stuff together and you're going to have one solid image that you can't move. Because as it is right now, I can adjust her, I can adjust this, it's all separate. Anyways, once you have it saved, close Photoshop, reopen it back up, and your font will show up in there. Alright, anyways, so now I'm going to make my title. I'm going to get that in line so that's all the way in there. And I'm going to do, let's see, Princess. I'll do her whole name, Callistra Rowena Intier. Then I'm going to move away from the text and I'm going to bring it back here. Then when you're still in the text box, just hold Control and slide it in. Be careful here because try and keep that where it says 0.0 degrees. Try and keep it like that because that's keeping it level. If you go up and down, then it's going to do that right there. Come on. There we go. Alright, same deal over here. There we go. Close enough. Alright. Press enter and done. Alright, so that's just going to be the title. That's probably the only place I'm going to use the Precious font. Whoa, hey. No, I want that to stay like that. I'm going to go here and change that to Prince Valiant, aka Princess Wow, I cannot type tonight. Cali. Put that right there. And I'm also going to change this font, bring it a little smaller. Let's do 250. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so now I have my little character title. What's next? Next, at this point, I start bringing in the boxes that I want. So let's go here. I'm going to go my rectangle marquee. I'm going to cut that, or you can work on it on that page, doesn't really matter. I'm just Control T, and then bring it. I'm just going to put it over here for now. I don't really know exactly where I want it. Drop it down to a reasonable size. And now here, there's a couple of things you can do. You can fill it with, whatever colors you think are appropriate. You can, this is my preferred method, select it with the magic wand tool over here. Select all of that white open space and just delete it. Get that over there, get this over here, get that little R right there. There we go. I want that little spot right there. Alright, so then from here, you can do it like that. Depending on your character sheet, that might be enough. Or you get this right here. This is just, if you click and hold on a lot of these, you'll bring up additional selections. I use the rounded rectangle tool. Just bring that over here, slide that around it. What you want to do is drop this down. I use about 3 point if I'm going to have a border at all. I'll set the fill to, again, like a gray color. And the border, if I'm going to use a border, let's just do black for now so that you can actually physically see it. And yeah, actually you can't, it's very thin, but there's a black border right there. Obviously it's filled with gray. Now move that so that that's on top of there, and then I like to take the rounded rectangle and drop this. 35 is usually my go-to. Now I just did it real fast, so it's kind of sloppy, but you want that roughly the same size as this. That way, when you type on here, you don't have to worry about the font color in the background. You can always see it. Let me give you an example. If you just leave that straight transparent, and let's say I do strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, all the way down the line, but I use the same font color, yellow for example, might be fine up here while it's on this red, but when I start getting down to here, it may start to get harder to read. It just depends on the background that you're using. Like right there, if you didn't know that, I already said AKA, would you really know that that's a K? But if you do something like that and have that down here, depending on the colors you use and whatever, might make that a bit more visible. So that's why I do that. Let's back that up. But the best option, in my personal opinion, is to take this as is, switch to that gray color already, and just change the color that way. YouTube. Alright, then you take this whole thing and drop it down that way. Now I don't have to worry about that, the rest of that box showing up, and I can fill that in and have it like that. If you are, in that situation where, let's go ahead and bring it down. Text here might be hard to see because of the background colors. Just go ahead and make that a little more solid, maybe like a 55. And then if it's, you can always come back in here and adjust the color as necessary. Whoops. Just make sure you have the right layer selected. There you go. And do whatever you need to do to make that more visible. And one other thing I forgot to mention. Let's say you do end up going this route. I'll just leave that as is. Something you can do is have the rounded rectangle selected. Go over here to the eraser tool. You'll have to do that, whatever that is. And then you can just erase this stuff right here. And in my opinion, personal opinion, it's a bit sloppy unless you actually get up close and detail the lines, which I think is an unnecessary amount of work, but it just depends on how detailed you want to get. So you can go down here and actually erase it bit by bit. And you don't have to worry about actually erasing like the strength line, because that's a separate layer. See, with that layer selected, now I'm going into the strength line. But if I've just got rounded rectangle, then I don't have to worry about crossing over the lines. But that's a moot point because I'm not going to use that. Alright, another option, and this is what I'm personally going to do, is I like to get rid of that and then just fill it in with whatever color. Or before I even get to that, let's just go ahead and fill that in. And I want a lighter gray. And fill that in, fill that in, fill this in, and take the whole thing down to 35. That's usually my go-to, but I'm probably going to adjust it here. Because usually, like I said, my entire background is lighter than what it normally is. In fact, let me bring up another character sheet to show you what I mean. Where's Malfrin? Edit Malfrin. Alright, so like here, set my background. Oh, this one was already bright. Maybe not the best example. But you can see how the background is lighter and she's darker because it draws the eye to her. That's the effect that you're generally going for. Alright. And here you can see I used the design from the original 5e character sheet, not this one. But same deal. Now, when you go here, you go back to whatever font you want to use, whatever color. I'm going Prince Valiant right here. I'm going to select that right here. I'm going to drop this down. Strength. Alright. I'm going to put that right there. Alright. Now, when you're doing that, make sure, let me go ahead and change the layer name. Just double click right there. STR, strength. You always want the text, the T for text, above your text, your actual box. If you have it the other way around, it's very slight, but you can see the color change. If this box weren't as dark, let's do like 65, something like that, then the color's a bit more noticeable. So always have your text on top of the box. Select them both by clicking one, hold Control, click the other one. If you hold Shift, that's another way to do it, but Shift's going to choose everything in between. So if I click this and I wanted this, and I'm holding Shift, it's going to select everything. So generally you want to use Control. When you right click, make sure you right click the actual layer with the actual box, the box layer, because you're going to do merge layers. If you right click the text layer, you can see there is no merge layer option. Alright, so don't get confused with that. You're looking for a merge layer and it's not there. That's why. It's because you got to choose, right click on the actual box, not the text. Merge layers. Now with that merged, whenever I move this box, the strength sign is going with it. And I like to do it that way because that way the font in the box matches the font I'm using for everything else. If you do it as is, you can see how I've got this nice little Royal Regal font or whatever. But if I didn't do that, then these are still going to be whatever font this is. Alright, now normally I would go through and do the same thing for all 6 stat blocks. I'm not going to do that right now because, like I said, this is just a tutorial video. I will resize that a bit though. And another thing you want to do in order to keep perspective is every now and then zoom back out to where you can see the whole screen, because it looks like it may look like, oh, this thing right now is taking up too much space, so let me make it smaller. And then you zoom out to look at the whole picture and you're like, oh, it's not taking up that much space at all. Alright, so next you're going to go through here and you're going to start pulling things that you want. I'm going to snag AC right now. So first I'm going to get rid of the background. Let me show you real fast why you get rid of that background. It's because let's say I'm pulling this right here. If I wanted that AC and I cut it, when I go back over here and I paste it, yep, you can already tell it took the background with it. Now if you do that, you can still grab the magic wand and get rid of it that way, but you might as well, when you're here, you might as well just get rid of it for everything so you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so I'm going to grab my armor class shield thing here. Same deal. I'm going to go in here. I'm not going to use the text box here because, as you can see, like as I'm dropping down trying to get class over here on the left and right, it's kind of going out of the border if I use a box. So I'll just use the erase tool there. Takes a little longer, but whatever. Let's get rid of all of that, get rid of all of that, good. Make sure there's nothing in the middle. Alright, then I'm going to get my gray color, fill that in, and I'm going to again drop it down 35. Take my text box, switch my color over, and I want armor class, but I want it kind of to look like the other one, so I'm going to drop it down. Bring it over here to this spot. This looks a little small in the text, so let's bring it up to, I don't know, let's try 100. Nope, don't like it. Let's do 150. A little bit better. Let's recenter it. That'll do. Alright, so I have my layer. You see, I want to make sure I don't get this stuff mixed up. It's best to go ahead and label your layers as they come in, because by the time you're done pulling over everything, look this, you got 6 stat blocks, you'll have your AC, you're going to have your saving throws, proficiencies, you have a box for like your skills, health, all that stuff, initiative. You're going to have a bunch of boxes basically. So instead of having everything just layer 1 through layer 37, it's best to just go ahead and name everything as you bring it in. So anyways, armor class, AC, merge layers, boom. Go ahead and bring it down to reasonable size. Select this up here, your little move tool. And I don't know why, me personally, I just like having the AC somewhere around the character's head. That's just what I generally tend to always do. Let's go to Malfred here. See, hers is by the head. Open. Let's go to, oh no, hers isn't done yet. Cheyenne was the one I was going for. Hers, again, above the head. And we can look at Rial. Here's also right above the head. You can obviously set your stuff wherever you want it. I like to have hit points in AC around the head for some reason. That's just my own personal preference. Alright, so I've got AC here. I'm going to go back to my character sheet. Now I'm looking at this. They have this huge AC box. Not sure I really like that. You can set this stuff however you want. Again, getting rid of the background. And I'm just going to go with this one right here where it says max AC. Or max HP, excuse me. I'm going to cut that box. I'm going to use that as my HP box. Alright, let's go ahead and drop that. In fact, I'm going to make it into a rectangle. I really like rectangles for this. Again, you can see like here. I like the rectangles because I'll usually put a slash right there, so then I can show, you know, whatever current HP is out of whatever the max HP is. Just really kind of saves space for me. I never really saw the purpose in having a huge old box for current hit points and then a separate box for max hit points. I can understand temp HP, that makes sense, but I never really understood why people separate that box. You can really just do the same thing with one box. So again, same deal. Fill this up. And like I was telling people on Facebook, there's nothing about creating this character sheet that's particularly difficult once you kind of know what you're doing. It's just tedious. Not hard, just takes a while. So make sure you have some time to devote to putting this together. Whoops. There we go. Alright. I forgot to change out the max HP text font, but whatever. Not really necessary for right now. Alright, so that's basically it. You're going to go through, you're going to pull stuff, whatever you need. Now, another reason why I prefer using this updated character sheet, which, by the way, let me go ahead and give credit where credit's due. This one was designed by Matthew Perkins. You can contact him via Twitter at mperkinsdm. And there you go. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, so on and so forth. Alright. Another reason I like this is because, let me bring up the other pages. Character sheets. And bring this up. You know what? I'm not even going to bring it up on that. I will bring it up over here. Alright, so this is just the PDF file. No, don't want to select that. Alright. So like, you can see on this one, he's got on page 2, huge block for your feats and traits. Your armor proficiencies, weapon proficiencies, tool proficiencies, language, all this stuff right here, which I've actually in my later character sheets started getting away from these because they take up too much space in my personal opinion and they're not used all that much. But so having them on page 2 just made a lot more sense to me. And the more stuff we have on page 2 and 3, that's the less stuff I have to put on page 1 of our character sheet, which, I mean, our image already takes up a lot of space. So now let's go to Real. I'm going to end up redoing his because look, we have personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws. That's normally in there. I personally also like to add goals. I have my players create goals for their characters because it gives me something I can use to add to the story. Look at this. I got huge box over here for proficiencies, languages, features, and traits. In the other character sheet, this is all page 2. This is all page 2. So now that space I can use on here that I don't need on this page. So again, shout out to Matthew Perkins for creating this character sheet. Really appreciate it. I'm going to start using this. Alright, let's get that out of the way. Alright, so now you have the basic idea. You've got your character, you've got the background, you can start bringing in boxes, you know how to make your choose your own custom font, and you can make the stuff down to your actual font. So now you just need to decide which boxes you want to bring over, because there's a lot of this, for example, I would not put on my page 1. I'm going to use initiative, bonus, and speed, but I'm just going to use this box. I'm not going to use this whole block. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use any of this. None of this. None of this. I will use these, but I wouldn't use these particular boxes. I'll probably just use this portion of it. Things like that. Bring the skills box over. Physical limits, that's a nice touch. I'm not going to bring that over for page 1. This is another good thing to have that's going to take up a lot of space. In fact, let me go ahead and select all this open space here. It's going to take a second. I'm just selecting all this open space, white space around here. It's going to make it all transparent through here. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to get this whole block. I'm going to cut that, go back here, and wow, that is huge. Alright, let's go ahead and bring that down to size. And why is she like on top of everything? And press enter on that. I'm going to bring her down here. She really doesn't need to be that high up. Whoops, not her. I want that layer I just brought in, so here. Weapons and attacks, that's just what I normally name it. And then for something like this, I would probably have it maybe not take up that much space. But again, same deal. Fill my color. Don't worry about not being able to see the lines. Drop that down. The reason I say don't worry about not being able to see the lines is because you don't really need them. What you can do is take this, go to your line tool, and then make lines like that. I recommend anywhere where you're going to have fillable content, you should put a line. So like with these, obviously lines already exist, but like over here, I'm going to have a fillable, that's going to be a spot where you can change the number there, so put a line. I don't have it here, but I'm going to start doing it where you just take a line right there. Take a line, boom. Take a line, boom. So that line is just a signal, hey, click here, and this is where you can fill in your information. Let's see, Shanna has a lot, because for example, you can't see it here, but on the PDF, I have a spot right there, which is why I'm going to put a line when I update this. This is, she's going to be multi-class here, so this line is for whatever her levels are in Fighter or Eldritch Knight. This is for her levels in Cleric, and then this is going to be her total level. However you want to do it, entirely up to you. Alright, so let me see if I've covered everything. You can create your own font, bring font in, adjust the colors, you know how to bring in your stat blocks, and you select the stuff you need. Okay, so I'm going to save this as is. Save as, Cali edit, save. Yep. Alright, now, next thing you're going to need is that other program I told you about, Adobe Acrobat Professional. I've got 7. Probably won't let me open this with Photoshop open, but I'll try it anyway. We'll see. Alright, right here, recent places, custom character sheets, edit. Oh, sorry, I forgot one other thing. Alright, so when you're done with your image and you're ready to make it a PDF fillable file, you need to go here, go to Save As. Where do I want this? I'll keep it incomplete. And now you want to save it as a Photoshop PDF. Alright, save it as a Photoshop PDF. Click Save PDF. Make sure, look up here, make sure it reaches 100% before you close. I may need to close this, I'm not 100% sure. We're both going to find out together. It always kind of stops at 99%. Almost there. Okay, there we go. And it also likes to open it up for you once it's done. Alright, so this is the PDF file. Alright, I'm not really concerned about seeing that right now. Let me go ahead and close that. Alright, now I'm going to open up Adobe Acrobat. Again, right here, custom character sheets, incomplete. And there it is as a fillable, or as a PDF file. Let's go ahead and open that. Alright, I didn't know if it was gonna not let me open it since it was open in another program, but apparently it doesn't seem to care. Alright, so once you have all your boxes made on your screen, this is the part where it gets really tedious, alright, but necessary. You're going to go up here to, let's see, what is this? The official name for it. Text field tool. Alright, you're going to go to your text field tool. You're going to zoom in. The zoom controls and whatnot are a bit different here. This one you hold control to zoom in and out, and they don't actually have a, as far as I know, they don't have a keyboard command to allow you to scroll left and right. But anyways, you're going to fill this in and you're going to make your text box. I like to use as much space as possible, but it's entirely up to you. Alright, once you fill that in, I apologize, it's moving slow because I've got OBS running. It'll make your text field properties. Now this is important because if you don't follow this exactly as I'm about to tell you, it's going to create a lot of heartache and frustration. Alright, unless you have a border and fill colors that meet your design, usually you're going to want to leave those blank. You can, if you're not going to use lines to identify a text field area like I suggested, then maybe you want to use a border color, something like that, so everyone knows when they click on that yellow box, that's where they can fill in. But I'm going to leave this blank. Font size, I usually leave it as auto. It will make an appropriate font size to the size of the box that you create. Text color, this is another one that's important. Fill it in to whatever that will ever match the text that you already have on your screen. Font, here, I don't know how or why, what they decided to have it separated, but you'll see these lines here, they have it separated in different chunks. I don't know what the difference is, but you'll eventually find the big block of fonts, and that's where you're going to find whatever fonts you've downloaded. So I'm going to go down to, here we go, Prince Valiant. General, this is important. The name, take the time to fill out, let's see, this one, strength mod. Take the time to fill out whatever that text field is going to be. I like to do in the big box, actually put the modifier, so +1 through +5, and I'll put the score in the little box. Other people like to do it the other way around, just depends on personal preference. So tooltip, if you're making a character sheet for maybe an inexperienced player or someone who's going to forget, whatever, you can put in here, let's see, fill in +2 or plus whatever. That's just an example. Alright, let me see. You're going to go to your options, alignment. For this, I want it center. For something like my feats and traits block, I'm probably going to want that aligned to the left. But for most things, I'm going to want center. For check multi-line, again, that's probably something you're going to want for like feats and traits, big blocks, for equipment, things like that. Without this selected, when they type, it's just going to go in a long straight line. They're not going to be able to press enter and drop down to another line, which is scroll along text. If you don't have scroll along text selected, they're only going to be able to type from here to here. After that, it's going to stop. You can set a limit of how many characters you want. Like for example, this one's just going to be it's the plus sign and one number. So you could set that to 2 characters if you wanted. I usually don't bother with it. If I don't know, maybe I'm feeling crazy, I don't know what's going to happen in the story, and it's like, hey, you're going to have a plus, I don't know, 12 strength mod for whatever reason. I don't know. They could put that in. Check spelling, that's just nice to have. Let's see, this stuff, I don't mess with this generally when I'm making these sheets, but you can, if you want to get fancy with it, you can set triggers for certain items, whatever you want. Calculate, some people get fancy with this. You can set it up so that, for example, if you put your strength score here, it'll automatically calculate whatever the strength mod is, so you don't only have to fill in one box. I don't know. If you want to do that, by all means, go ahead. But this is why this is important, alright? Because you don't want to have to go through that menu every single time. So with this box selected, I'm going to do Control C, and then I'm going to do Control V. It sucks because it's always going to put it in the middle of the screen. Let's say I had the Dex box here. I drag it over to where I want, and I'm already going to have, it's already going to be centered, it's already going to have the right options, already going to have the text color, font, all that stuff. Otherwise you have to reselect all that. And then here, you're going to need to change the name. So this would be now Dex mod. Alright, let me show you what happens if you forget to change the name. STR, strength mod. Alright, anytime you want to check and just see what your stuff is going to look like, just click select over here. Now, I'm going to go here to this text box. Now keep in mind, both here and the somewhat invisible box there are both named strength mod. So if I put +2 right here for strength, that's right, it automatically fills it in every box that has the same name. So I'm going to go back to my text field form, and I'm going to change this to Dex mod. Boom. Now something you may want to do, because remember we have 6 stats, I'm going to select them both. I'm going to select that, I'm going to hold Shift or Control, you can either or in this case. I have them both selected, copy, Control C, paste, Control V. Now I have them both. Usually, if I'm going to have all my blocks in the same area, strength, dex, now I can just line this up. This will be constitution, the one below it will be intelligence or wisdom, intelligence I think, or whatever order you set it in. Now I can just double click this and change this one, boom, con mod, and you don't actually have to close it each time, you can just click the next one, and let's make this one intelligence mod. Now that they're all different, if I put +2 there, nothing happens to any of the other ones. Alright. Alright, now you're basically going to have to go through and do that for every fillable spot you have. All the stats blocks. I should have put skills on here so you can see how tedious that is. In fact, you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and save. In fact, I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to save and I'm going to close that. I'm going to go in here and then I'm just going to, I don't know, we'll just take this as is. In fact, I'm not even going to use this one. Shanna, give me yours. Take that. Can I switch it? Nah, not that one. Here. Alright, and then let's put that right there. Whatever. File. Save. Let's change. Do I save anyway? Yes. Make sure it gets up to 100%. It's probably going to try and open up the PDF when it's done. I'm not going to really worry about that. Let's see if it'll let me open it. Yep, there you go. Close that. Oh jeez, didn't save because I was opened it here. Well, there's a clear example of why you wait for it to save at 100% before you open it or move anything on it. Again, normally this wouldn't take this long, but because I'm running so many programs at once, it's kind of slowing everything down. Don't worry about that. Alright, cool. Let's open up Kelly here. Now I've got my skills here. Alright. Let's zoom that in. There we go. I'm going to focus specifically on this area. Alright, so with these, this is where it kind of sucks. I'm going to fill that in over that box. Text. I'm going to do, in fact, you know what? Nope, I'm not going to do that. Let's delete that. I'm going to go over, did I not save that? Oh, I thought I did. Oh well, no problem. So yeah, you're going to go over here, you're going to make your little text box. Like I said, make sure they have different names. So this one, I just do skill 01 because I'm not going to type out acrobatics and then animal handling and arcana and all that stuff. Just skill 01 is fine. Again, same deal. You got to go through, select all this stuff. Prince Valiant, font size auto, options, center, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so I got my skill 1. I'm going to copy, zoom out because it's going to put it in the center of the screen, paste, and there it is. And because it's so small, guess what you got to do? That's right, you got to zoom back in. Bring it back here. Get this lined up in the right spot, as close as you can get it. Double click it, and guess what? You gotta make sure it's a different name. Otherwise, you put in the skill here, it's gonna pop up right there. I'm gonna select them both, copy, paste. Oh hey, convenient. Bring that over. Double click right here. 3. Go to U. 4. And basically continue this down the line. Now I have 4 of them. Select. This is going to save you some time to multiply it like this. Skill 05, 06, 07, and then for you 08. And then of course you would select all the rest and continue this pattern. I'm not going to do that, you guys get the idea. Alright, so you'll have to do this for all the skills, you have to do this for all the saving throws. You've got to make text boxes for all of this stuff, your AC, anywhere where you have a fillable line, you're going to have to make a text field for. The only other thing you're going to have to do besides the text, you go to this box right here, which should be the checkbox, and same deal for all these little spots right here. Oh, sorry, hold on. Computer's again running slow. Oh my goodness. Alright, whatever. Let me go ahead and close it. I'm not worried about it. Yep, close it. Let's bring that down. Open it up again. And just bring that up. Edits. Or no, not edits. I have it incomplete. There she is. Alright. Like I said, the only other thing you have to do is go over here to your checkbox tool. Try and get as much as the circle as is appropriate. It's going to do just like you did with the text box. Fill this in, border color if you want it to have one, or don't. Fill that in, text color. Don't really need to worry about font because this is just a circle. Now you can leave it as it is, checkbox 1, because when you make the next one, it's gonna, show up checkbox 2, and that'll actually save you a little bit of time. Entirely up to you. But that's only if you're going to draw out each one. While it does save you the time in having to name them, the downside is that when you're looking at this as full PDF form, it's going to look odd if the boxes aren't exactly the same size. So again, my recommendation is to just have one, copy, paste, it's way down here, and then drag it to the same spot, because then they're all the same size. Alright, but again, if you do it that way, you've got to go in and change the names. Again, go to select, so now the players can go through here and select the things they are proficient in and the things they are not. It says checkbox, it doesn't actually have to be a checkbox. Just go over here, go to options, and then change the style to I use a circle, but they have a few other options here. Go back to select, and boom, there you go. Alright, so with the checkbox, you'll need to make that for every skill and your saving throws. I'm going to go ahead and open up one that is complete. Let's go to Cheyenne. Alright, so with Cheyenne, in the checkbox, you can see I've got one for each one of those. Also, when I go to text form, you can see you got to do one for every single spot. Alright. This one can get, if you make them too small, which I found out trying to fill this stuff out, is that, let's say I go here and, I don't know, I'll just do longsword. Now you can't see me typing because it's such a thin box that you won't actually see it until you press enter. And then when it shows up, oops, there you go, it'll show up there. But of course, if you try and edit anything, it's way too small to see. So try and give yourself more room. I'm probably going to go back through and delete some of these lines. I don't need this many. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different texts. Yeah, I probably don't need all that. For this box, features and traits, this one is one where, like I said, multi-line, long scrolling text, no limits, spell check, stuff like that, aligned to the left. And then what I recommend people do is just put a little tack mark at the start so you know when the new line is showing something new. Let me see, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, alright, and then the very last thing you need to do. No. Very last thing you need to do. Let's say you're done with this. You have the full Photoshop image done. You put in all your fillable lines wherever you want it. Now you're done. But you still need page 2 and 3 attached. That's where, again, this program comes in handy. Just close it out. Go to File, Create PDF from multiple files. You go to Browse. Select your the fillable form you just made. That's one. Then wherever you have the character sheet you pulled from, whoops, I didn't mean to go to custom character sheets. This one. Select Add and then OK, and it's going to make that whole thing as a new PDF. Now it's already going to open up a spot for you to save it. Don't worry about that because you have stuff to do first. Now, oh, see, thankfully it made it the same size. Close enough, it's off a little bit, but no big deal. Alright, so now you have your page 2, 3, and of course your custom page 1 at the very top. Once this wants to stop moving. There we go. So since you pulled your boxes from page 1 here, the ones you wanted, and you put it up here on this page, you don't really need this page 1. You can keep it if you want, just to have, I don't know, redundant information or to fill in the boxes you didn't put up there, but I generally don't use it. So go over the pages, select that page 1, and then just hit delete. Are you sure you want to delete this page from document? Yes. Okay. Now you have your custom page 1 and you have page 2 and 3 from that. So you go to File, Save As. In my case, I would be saving it here as an Adobe PDF file. I'm not going to do that now because this isn't actually done, but that's generally all you need. And then, no, I don't want to save that before closing. Let's pull up Shanna here. And then once you're done, you have your fillable image. It's a fillable PDF. You can click in here, change any of the information, and you have a fully functional character sheet. And there you go. That's pretty much all of it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know either in the comments on this video. I'm probably going to upload this to YouTube, but I'm going to post it all over Facebook, both in DMs of the Forgotten Realms and in Tavern at the End of the Internet. Facebook's probably the easiest and fastest way to contact me, as I'm not on YouTube very much, but I will check it periodically. So like I said, questions, comments, concerns, let me know, and hopefully we'll start to see some more custom character sheets out there. Alright, keep gaming.